Hi, I'm Amber at Amber Plays Sims on most platforms, and today we are doing the random build challenge. So I got a randomized build selected for me. I will link you the website below where I got this. And so here are the rules for the build that I am doing today. These are all completely randomized. I didn't choose any of these options. So today we are going to be building a red mansion in Magnolia Promenade, which is the very small retail world that came with the Get to Work expansion pack. We have to use the lot trait Filthy. It has to be for 2 Sims with a big budget of 53k, but again, it's a mansion, so that kind of works in our favour that it's a 53k budget. It must include, now I set this as 6 things that it should tell us to include. So a woohoo bush, a cauldron room, an arcade machine, a greenhouse, a fountain, and a hidden room. So let's get right into the build and see what I made using this list of things. So we're on the only empty lot in Magnolia Promenade because I just didn't feel like bulldozing one of the pre-existing shops. There's only 4 lots in this world, so I just thought I'll just choose the empty one and keep it a little bit simple. So I start off, with a really simple box shape. I kind of made a mistake in a way building a mansion on such a small lot because you really don't get enough room, really. Just it's a very small space. And realistically, a mansion would have so much more of a garden and a big driveway for guests and things. I think maybe this doesn't quite pass as a mansion, but to me it's a very big house. Maybe I just kind of pushed the boundaries of what we could quite call a mansion. So I'm just getting the general basic shape, and even if the house itself isn't absolutely ridiculously huge, I wanted to give it kind of a mansion-y feel. I wanted it to be like nice, I don't know, big rooms and hallways and things. Just, I don't really know. That doesn't. Imagine I made sense right now. Yeah, that. I really think that what I did on the front of the house, as you're seeing sort of come together now, adds to this sort of mansion style that the house has, because I love on bigger houses like this adding this really big like balcony frontage to the house. I think it looks really nice and very grand. So you can kind of see the basic sort of skeleton of that coming together now. And then one of the things we had to include was that the house had to be red. So instantly for me that meant red siding. I feel like red bricks kind of is a cop out, like it felt too easy. So, and not really red. I wanted to make it actually like a house that had been painted red. So I put red siding and then nice white windows to contrast. It's a little bit looking like a barn, but I think the fanciness of the shape kind of, stops it looking too much like a barn. I put in this lovely conservatory at the back here going out into the garden, and I played a lot with platforms in this build. Maybe in a bad way, maybe it didn't all turn out very good, but I played around with platforms, tried to do some interesting stuff, and it was interesting. But yeah, so I added that conservatory at the back because I feel like this sort of house would have a little summer house, a little conservatory, somewhere to hang out and, plant plants and things when it's a rainy day. And then just more layout stuff, choosing the layout for the upstairs, and just planning out how all the rooms are going to be. I also added in a basement because I didn't feel like I quite had enough room to add all the special extra things that we had to add for this challenge. If you hear any weird noises, one of my hamsters has just woken up and is running around and making a whole bunch of noise. So I'm adding some flooring, as you can see, and I wanted to use a really nice light wooden floor. I think I personally tend to go for really dark wooden floors. I think dark wood just looks nicer. But more recently I've been adding these like really light wooden floors and light wood furnishings to houses, and I'm actually maybe more becoming a light wood kind of person. Don't know if that's interesting to anyone, but it's interesting to me. And then you can see here I'm really struggling with the platforms where there's all these different heights going into the conservatory and then a different height coming out of the conservatory, and it's a small space to go between, but I think it ended up making a really interesting little walkway through there. And then I placed all of the other random bits and bobs that I had to include, just to make sure I didn't forget them. And so those are all kind of just in the basement at the moment. I'm kind of not working in a very like good order on this house. I'm just sort of throwing it all in random directions, and you will see that cause some issues as we get later to the build. And I went for this yellow kitchen. I can't get over how this is actually a kitchen in the game. I still think it just looks like CC, and I mean that in the best way. It looks like CC, because it's so different to all of the other kitchens that we've had before. So I wanted to make this really modern because it's a house for 2 Sims, so this isn't a family home, this is just a couple living here. So in my mind it's a young couple who've just got this home rather than an old couple whose family has all moved out, so it's just them. So it's just a cute young couple. They've got all this, modern, fresh style going into the house, and I just wanted to make it look really fun and bright and just throw in some new different sort of ideas and styles that I've not really tried out before. So here's the dining room. I put in the debug rug, I think is from Tiny Living, but I could be wrong. And it's a free rug because it's from debug, so that you don't have to pay for it. But I honestly didn't use it for budget saving. I just think it's one of the best rugs in the game. So little helpful tip, it sizes up really nicely as well. So that is one of the rugs in debug. And if you have all the debug cheats typed in, it does just come up in under the rugs section, because I know sometimes debug stuff is really weird like that. But yeah, it just comes up like normal and it works totally fine. And then the living room here with a little step down into it, that feels super realistic, like a house like this would be a little bit higgledy-piggledy with steps and things all over the place. I think larger homes like this are sometimes a little bit older and a bit more, like I said, a bit more higgledy-piggledy. I think I end up changing that art that you saw me place behind the TV because it's hideous. If I don't, then oops, and I'm so sorry. But I'm pretty certain I end up changing that. Yeah, you can see I'm doing it now. But I was already trying to do a lot of budget saving because just the structure of this house, pre-furnished, cost a lot of simoleons. And then you'll see, even though I'm making this place look nice and expensive, I'm still using that IKEA-style pendant lamp in every room. Well, not every room, but a lot of the rooms, because it's just so nice, and the warm light it gives off. Some of the lights, they give off different tones. Some of them are more of a bright white, and some of them are more of a warm tone. And you can adjust that in live mode, but it's just annoying going into live mode from build by. So yeah, I choose those ones, and they have a lovely warm tone, and it's just really nice. You can see here I'm scrolling through debug, trying to get a bunch of free stuff, and also looking for cars. Then I was like, what do I do with this front space? I use the left as a driveway, but I couldn't just put one on the right as well. It would look too symmetrical and weird. So I put this little front garden, but I thought if it would actually be a space you'd ever use, it would need to be a little bit private. So I put a little, what is it called? Hedge fence around it. And these archways, and I think it looks so adorable. And I just filled it with plants, made it into basically a little rose garden, and I think it turned out super cute. And yeah, you'd be exposed to everyone walking past, but it would still be a really nice place to sit and just I don't know what you do when you sit outside. Read a book, I suppose. But yeah, I just thought it was really cute, and it added to the kind of mansion vibes, when you see a lot of the mansions in Sims will have a hedge maze or something random, like that out the front, and I thought that kind of mirrored that sort of thing that you see in a lot of Sims builds. And then I start working on the master bedroom / only bedroom, because there is only 2 Sims living here and they are a couple. So we've got the bed, and then I'm putting in loads and loads of this modular storage stuff from Dream Home Decorator. I am using this in pretty much every build right now. I think it's just so lovely, and you can fit it into so many little spaces. I just think it's perfect. So I'm just putting a whole bunch of wardrobe stuff, and then I was kind of adding a bit of clutter here and there, but I thought I don't want to waste all of the simoleons we've got in our budget on clutter, because I want to get the main pieces in first. And you'll see we're coming up fairly soon to where some issues start. So all of these weird things I had to include, like an arcade room, and I think it was like a cauldron room. So I just double checked, and it was a cauldron room, a hidden room, and an arcade machine are kind of the 3 bits I cover down here. So the cauldron room, I made that be the hidden room, and I thought 2 birds with 1 stone, that can be the same thing. And then the arcade machine I put downstairs in the basement in sort of like a hangout space, and I made it pretty small because the budget was crying by this point. But I just wanted to have like a little recreation room, sort of hangout room in the basement. And I thought the arcade machine was totally the sort of thing that you would just stick down in the basement. It's big and clunky and doesn't go with the decor, but it's fun, so you just have it out of the way. And then with the cauldron room, I went all out, loads of debug. I wanted to make this place magical. It's stuffed to the brim. It's even got like stone walls and dark wooden floor, and it's completely different to the rest of the house. And I just love it. Added so many crystals in there as well, and all these like glowing orb things, which I'd never seen before. I don't really play a lot with the like magic stuff in Sims 4, but yeah, I didn't even know half of this stuff existed, specifically the debug stuff. I scroll through debug a lot, but usually it's for realistic builds, so I avoid a lot of the sort of magical stuff. But this was really cool, using some stuff I've just never used and I didn't even know was in the game. So now we're on to upstairs bathroom. I like what I've done here with the shower hidden off in a little corner. I love those showers because you can use them. They're the university ones, and there's a similar one that comes with Snowy Escape, and you can use them in awkward shaped. Oh, my voice just went. You can use them in awkward shaped and awkward sized bathrooms. I feel like I'm always saying this on this channel, but I am just getting over losing my voice. Also, apparently I can't talk properly. I'm just getting over losing my voice, and so mildly croaky, but really not too bad. And as like I said before, I keep just jumping between random things, like just suddenly jumping over to a different room. See, as I'm literally doing on the screen right there. I was making a bathroom and then all of a sudden doing something else. So it's very hard to keep up with myself watching this back and recording the voiceover, because I'm like trying to talk about one room and then suddenly it's like, nope, past me was like, nah, doing something else now. See, it's because I think a lot of the time when you're scrolling through debug, you will just find something and go, oh, that can go there, and you know you'll never find it again, so you have to place it, and then you get a bit lost in doing that. So yeah, I think that's kind of why. So downstairs you've got 4 main rooms. You've got, well, other than the bathroom as well, you've got the kitchen, the dining room, a living room, and then there's this back room here that backs onto the conservatory, sort of like a bonus room. And I wanted it to be like a nice family space with sofas and stuff, but no TV, so it's more like a hangout space, maybe a games room, rather than a TV room sort of thing. And then I'm adding a whole bunch more debug stuff into the kitchen, pots and pans, and all sorts of little details just to make the place look really realistic and lived in. I love details like that in Sims, even if they get completely ruined once you hit live mode, and they tidy up all the plates and all the cups. I think it's still cute to build little things like that. So now I've started looking at plants, trying to think of what I could put in, 1, for the garden, but 2, the conservatory, which is a little bit more tricky because obviously it's a smaller space. So I was trying to think of what sort of things go in a conservatory. I don't know, I've never had a conservatory, but in my mind this was like a gardening one, full of all different pot plants and all different garden stuff. And so as I'm scrolling through debug, you'll see I keep flicking away to random rooms going, oh, that can go there and that can go there. So every time I find something, I'm throwing it in a different room for a different purpose and putting it on a different shelf. And that's just kind of the way, when I'm using debug in a build, it's always like that. I'll just be throwing stuff in different rooms, like constantly. Like I even put like an open pizza box, if you just saw, on the dining table. And I really like that kind of realism and sort of family style look, if that makes any sense, like just liveliness to the build. So yeah, there's just like a few minutes of footage now of me just flicking through debug and just throwing stuff around the house in all different rooms. And pretty soon I'm going to stop doing that and we'll get on to the actual, like, furnishing of another room. Because I'm sure you're sick of seeing me just placing random debug stuff around this house. So upstairs we've got the double bedroom for the couple, and then I was like super out of money by this point and really struggling with ideas for what I could make all of these other upstairs rooms into. So I end up making a craft studio for in my mind, the craft studio is for the women of this house, and then a sort of workshop, which realistically wouldn't be upstairs in your house. It would be in like a garage or a little outbuilding, but this is the space I had, and so I made a workshop. Or maybe they make small things that don't, make too much bashing noise. But yeah, I was just kind of working with something I could use a lot of debug items for. And so in this room, as you can see, we've got a little craft room. It looks pretty grim, pretty rubbish. It's just a huge empty open room. But she's got cross stitch, she's got candle making stuff, and it's just a big open room of craft stuff. Definitely that free rug helps me out a lot, and a lot of budget builds, because it just looks so lovely. It comes in so many lovely colours. It's just the perfect item. And then in this workbench room, that is not quite what it would be called, but for some reason my brain is not telling me what it's called, whatever I just called it. I was a second ago adding a workbench into there. For some reason we are now working on the front garden again. So editing that a little bit. But yeah, with the... See, I can't remember what I called it. My brain's gone. The workroom. I was adding in a workbench, some tools. There's like a welding mask. I don't know why some of this stuff's in debug at all, but it's there. And then here I made a little guest bedroom. And I made it super cheap. I think that's like a blank canvas or a piece of paper I used as a headboard for this either cheap or free bed. I don't remember which it is. I think it might be like just like 20 simoleons or something. And it's like really tatty and ripped, but you know what? It does the job. It's cute enough. And so I popped that in that room and made the final bedroom of the 4 into a guest bedroom. So you've got the bedroom, the craft room, the like workbench room, and the spare room guest room. And I just kind of struggled with what I could fill these rooms out with, because when you've got any amount of budget, like, yeah, you could put pretty much anything in these rooms, but I was like really struggling with how to fill the space, and they just ended up looking so empty. And maybe I kind of thought, oh well, if people download this, then they can use those rooms for whatever they want, so I don't want to make them, perfect and full of personality. So I guess kind of it's a good house for you to download if you want to use this particular house that, there's like all those bedrooms upstairs ready for you to add personality to and do whatever you want with. But still, it was kind of annoying when I'm doing the build and I was trying to make it look nice, as a build. And you can see here I was trying to do the platform trick with the shower, and I think I kind of made it work. I think it's kind of cute, but I struggled to make it look good. But what I did is I dropped the platform down, so it's like an open shower where you step down from ground level into the shower. So I had forgotten to take any screenshots to show you the final build, but I've just gone and done that now. So here we go, here are some screenshots. So this is how it looks from the front. I think it looks really cute, especially with that little round window in that like fake little attic space. And so here's the front door with the car in the driveway. Looks absolutely lovely and adorable. And I'm really happy with this build. It's not really something I'd usually build. And it's really nice doing these random build challenges so I can push myself to do something a little bit different for me. If you want to see something like this again, please do let me know. And remember, if I've not linked down below the build randomizer, remind me, because it's really fun. I forgot to place a letterbox, so there is just one here in the middle of the build because it auto-placed, so I'm sorry about that, ignore that. I think it's just because in my mind this is like a big British house, and they wouldn't have a letterbox thingy like that, they would just have it in the door. Here's the kitchen. You might notice there's a few less upper cabinets than when I originally built it. That's because towards the end I removed some of them to save on the budget. And then it will see it from another angle. I added a few like bottles and things, just some really cheap decor just to fill up the space so it didn't look quite so bland, but it does look kind of bland because I really blew all of that budget. But it did have to be a mansion. In my defense, it did have to be a mansion. So here's the dining room. I have also just realised I took no screenshots of the basement, but I have finished making this video now, and I've closed the game, and it took like 20 minutes to close because my laptop was overheating, so just, you know what it looks like, you saw me build it. And then here we go, here is a view into the little hallway and through into the sitting room from the dining room. And then we're going to go on to a nice little view of the downstairs toilet. Literally didn't even put a loo roll holder because the budget was getting tight. And then there's the sink and a couple toothbrushes on the counter. I thought that was a really cute little detail. And I'm now realising I don't love the tiling I used in that bathroom. It's kind of gross. And then here's that sitting room with the stairs down to the basement, which is kind of like the family games room. So I like how these two rooms are connected, the sitting room and the games room. Very cozy vibes. And then we've got the conservatory, a few plants. I remember it feeling a bit more cluttered than this for some reason, but I guess not. I think it's just hard to find potted style plants in debug, and I couldn't afford to get real ones. And so it just ended up looking a little bit bare bones. But also there did have to be room for the Sims to walk around in it, given all of the funkiness of the platforms, as you can see there. So that did complicate things a little bit. Then you can see from the outside that conservatory, I love how it looks. Conservatories are always such a nice touch in The Sims. I think they're just, especially now that we can do glass roofs, which I don't think we've been able to do in previous Sims games, I think that's just so nice to be able to do. And then there's a little purely decorative section in the garden. No, those chairs do not function. Your Sims will not be able to sit on them. But it looks nice. That is a debug item, and I use that a lot when I'm low on budget and decorating the exterior. And again, that is not the real clothesline from Laundry Day. That is a fake one from debug, so it doesn't have any interactions. Your Sims will practically walk straight through it. They will just not really notice it's there. The upstairs landing, I thought I'd show kind of to give you an idea of how the layout came together. This is the upstairs landing, and then to try and make it just a little bit less plain, I added a chair from debug again and a rug, and then this random Strangerville looking plant because it's this big landing and it looked so empty. And then here you can see that workbench room for the man where he can do all of his, I don't know, woodworking stuff. And like I said, it's plain, it's quite simple, does the job. And then again, here's the craft room. The woodworking bench and the craft room are both fully functional, they're just boring looking. But here you can see I tried my best to make it look not too hideous. You can see I couldn't even afford to put curtains in though. And then here, this bothered me as I took the screenshots, but I didn't have the energy to fix it right now, but the mirror is touching the sink and like overlapping, and that is stressful, but oh well, it's fine. And then here's the shower. So I'm sure I put a screen, like a shower screen over this, but for some reason there isn't one, so maybe I never did. But that's got that little drop step down that I was talking about earlier, and I think that's a really nice touch. And then here's the guest bedroom, if you can even call it that. Yeah, the downstairs is so lovely on this build, but the upstairs, you can see that the budget was just gone. So, yeah. And then here I did put a screen on this bathroom, on the shower. And again, you can see I did that step down detail. I think it's really nice on showers, especially in custom shaped ones like this with the angle, which Sims can actually walk through. I'm pretty sure I tested this. And then the bedroom. And I just think that looks really lovely and cozy and warm. and like a really nice place to sleep. So thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed hanging out with you and showing you one of my latest builds. Yeah, this is a picture of one of my characters dressed up as Yoda, as the end screen. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, comment if you've got any build ideas for me, and I'll see you next time.